Hello, my name's Emily. Today I'm going to be giving my presentation on Liebeck versus McDonald's restaurants and how it relates to torts and liabilities. So as we know, McDonald's is one of the largest operating fast food chains in the world. They serve more than 50 million customers a day, over 36,000 locations in over 100 countries, and they maintain revenue through multiple sources. So their primary income source is through their franchise business model, which that income source would include franchise fees and royalties. Second, they gain their income through fast food sales. They also are very heavy in brand deals and collaborations. That could be digital merchandise, it could be mobile apps, mobile promotions, sponsorships, things like that. And then they also invest in stocks and bonds and real estate. So that's the fourth income source. And so McDonald's continues to be as successful as they are as a company because they're able to maintain all of these sources of income successfully. And so they uphold strong key performance indicators. Their revenue trends are trending upward. They have high net and gross profit margins, and they typically increase the yearly sales growth rate from year to year. Liebeck versus McDonald's is commonly known as the hot coffee lawsuit. It's one of the most notable lawsuits addressing product liability, consumer protection, and corporate policies. So this lawsuit came to be as a result of Miss Stella Liebeck, who was 79 years old at the time, fixing her coffee in the McDonald's parking lot when it spilled in her lap, resulting in third-degree burns to 6% of her body and then over 16% of other burns to the rest of her body. She was hospitalized for 8 days, and her recovery ultimately took about 2 years. The public initially viewed this case as being frivolous, and they viewed Ms. Liebeck as being money hungry or money seeking, out to get, a lot of money from a big corporation like McDonald's. But as the case went on, it became clear to the public and to the court that Ms. Liebeck's injuries, coupled with the company's negligence, did warrant a verdict against McDonald's. Liebeck was ultimately awarded $200,000 in compensatory damages and $2.7 million in punitive damages. Both of these figures were later reduced due to the fact that the court used comparative negligence, and they said that McDonald's was 80% liable and Ms. Liebeck was 20% liable. So the $200,000 in compensatory damages was reduced to $160,000, and the $2.7 million was later reduced by a judge significantly to approximately $480,000. In order to fully understand the case, we need to look at both sides of the argument. So negligence is central to this whole case, and it can be defined as the failure to exercise the standard of care that a reasonable person would exercise in a similar scenario. So if we're looking at Stella Liebeck's arguments, one, she argued that McDonald's was negligent because they served coffee that was so hot that it was capable of producing the severity of the injuries that she sustained. She also argued product liability, which is the legal liability of companies, manufacturers, sellers of goods to consumers and users for injuries or damages caused by the goods. So if McDonald's served this coffee that was hot and she was injured by it, she argued that they should be held liable for that. And that they have a duty of care, which in tort law means they have a duty and a responsibility to exercise reasonable care when dealing with other people. Ms. Liebeck also argued the severity of the injuries, which was central to her winning the case, which were third-degree burns that required skin grafts. In addition, it also didn't help McDonald's case that she requested $20,000 initially to repay her medical expenses, and they declined. They only sent her $800. And then lastly, Liebeck argued that the punitive damages were necessary and justified based on the fact that McDonald's was so reckless, because they did receive many complaints from customers previously about the temperature of the coffee. So now if we look at McDonald's side of the argument, we can see that they said that her claim was frivolous, that she should have been more cautious, that it wasn't just their fault that she shouldn't have had it in her lap in that manner. They also argued that the temperature of the coffee aligned with the fast food industry standards for best flavor and overall best customer experience. They also said that the cup already had a warning label that said that the coffee was too hot. And they also argued that the damages that were awarded as punitive damages were excessive and not necessary. In a legal sense, this case really reinforced principles along the lines of product liability and negligence, especially for big corporations like McDonald's. It really shined a light on companies' responsibilities in making sure their consumers are safe in the products they're giving their consumers, in the labels that are on the products they're giving their consumers, things like that. It also sparked arguments between people, most notably within the tort reform community. It started the tort reform movement, which seeks to limit excessive punitive damages. So advocates, they argued that large punitive damages would be damaging to prices, costs for businesses, and then in turn consumers. But critics highlighted that cases like this showcase the need for corporations to be held responsible for negligence. So this case impacted the industry in a few different ways. Following the case, McDonald's lowered their serving temperature of their hot coffee. They also put clear labels on their cups, which caused many other fast food chains to follow suit. It also caused companies to take a closer look at their safety protocols and to regularly assess their procedures and make sure they're there to prevent similar accidents from happening, like what happened in the Stella versus McDonald's case. It also showed these corporations the financial risks that can come along with product liability lawsuits, and so they best do what they can to avoid this from happening in the future. So they should be proactive in settling disputes before they get to court, which could reduce financial costs and bad press. Ultimately, I agree with the ruling in this case. I think corporations should be held responsible for upholding their duty of care to customers. It should be made clear that if companies fail to do this, then they can suffer legal penalty. So this case is really a landmark case in tort law. It shows the importance of companies' responsibilities to their consumers, and I think that is something that should be in place going forward. Thank you.